Hello, welcome back. So, we're going to dive into more TOEFL vocabulary words because I strongly believe that when you start preparing for the TOEFL, IELTS, or whatever exam you're trying to do, or even learn English, you really need to start with vocabulary words. This will definitely help your preparation. It will definitely lead into the writing, the reading, the speaking part, as well as phrasal verbs and idioms. But let's get into more vocabulary words. So let's get started. The first word we're going to go over is candid. Now, remember, I've said this in other videos. The words that I'm giving you are frequently seen on the TOEFL exam. Even if you're not taking the TOEFL, these are just good to know. You may not use these words, but you will hear them in conversation, see them at the movie theater, hear them on Netflix. So it's important to know. So at least you understand, even if you don't use the word yourself. So back to candid. So when you are being truthful and straightforward, frank is another word, you are being candid. She was very candid about her plans to change careers. So she was honest about why she wanted to change jobs. I might say, Mary, may I be candid with you? What I'm saying is, Mary, may I be frank with you? Mary, may I be honest with you? Another thing you might hear with this word about candid is candid photos. What does that mean? Oh, wow, can you take some candid photos at Peter and Mary's wedding? Just means like people not posing, just, being themselves. When we see somebody that's posing and the photographer, smile, that's not a candid photo because you're being told to stop, pose, smile. But if you're just over clicking your camera, you're getting people just being honest, straightforward, kind of catching them there. Those are candid photos. So again, when we want to be truthful and straight to the point, we are being candid. So let's go to the next one. Debilitate. Debilitate. Sometimes that's hard for me to say. Debilitate. So this one is you make someone weak. The illness will debilitate him for at least a week. So cancer. Cancer is a debilitating type of a disease. It makes people very, very weak. I could say, wow, John's manager totally debilitates him so much. So meaning that his manager totally weakens him. He's not a nice person. So you could have a disease or you could have someone that debilitates someone. So to make someone weak, not good. All right, eloquent, being very persuasive, very fluent. I could say, wow, I really think your English is eloquent, meaning you're very fluent, you're doing a great job. Your writing is very eloquent. Maybe sometimes we've read a very good book, a very good poem or something, and the writing is just beautiful. It's very eloquent. Now, I've seen some people give speeches. Some people are very eloquent speakers. I'm not, I'm all over the place. I like, oh, and that reminds me of, and then. So I'm not the best eloquent speaker, but have you ever seen somebody give a speech and you're very moved, like, wow, that gave me chills, or I want to cry? It's because that person was such an eloquent speaker. So there's our example sentence. He gave an eloquent speech that moved the audience to tears. And we're seeing that a lot lately because it's June and there's a lot of graduation ceremonies. So you're hearing a lot of eloquent speakers. Frugal. I wish sometimes I was a little bit more frugal. No, but I am frugal with a lot of things. I just wish I was frugal with everything. But what does this mean? It means, wow, you're cheap. You're sparing your money with regard to money or food. They lived a frugal lifestyle to save money for their future. So basically, what this sentence is saying is they didn't go out to eat every night. They didn't go to the grocery store and throw things in the shopping cart that they didn't need. They only stuck to the basics, the necessary. So when you're being frugal, you're sticking to the basics. You're being cheap so you can have more money. Sometimes we don't have as much money as we thought we did. So when we go grocery shopping, we have to be frugal. No potato chips, no soda. We just get what we need. And being frugal is actually a good thing. You can obviously take the money you don't waste on potato chips or burgers and put it into a savings account. So when you're being frugal, it can actually be a good thing. All right, let's go on to the next one. Gratuitous. Ah, unwarranted, lacking for good reason. Ugh, that's uncalled for, not necessary. The movie was criticized for its gratuitous violence, meaning it was a good movie, but there was no reason for all of this violence. So, have you ever been somewhere where someone said something that you're like, wow, why did you say that? You could say, why did you make that gratuitous comment? You're basically saying, that's not necessary. There was no reason for that. We've seen lots of shows on Netflix, whether it's violence or something X-rated, like, wow, this is a great show, but there was no reason for this in there. Gratuitous, not necessary. There's no good reason for it. All right, let's go to the next one. Hypothetical. This reminds me of middle school. When I did a science project, we had to do a hypothesis. So what does this mean? It means we don't know, hypothetically, if this were to happen. So here's our example sentence. Maybe I'll make a little more sense. The scientist proposed a hypothetical scenario to explain the phenomenon. So basically, hypothetical is we're not saying it hasn't happened, but hypothetically, if this happens, this may be the outcome. And so you might hear somebody say, okay, hypothetically speaking, if I were to go to the shopping mall on Sunday, I'm thinking I should go in the morning because it'll be less crowded than if I go Saturday afternoon. So, hypothetically speaking, it would be easier to go Sunday morning while everybody's at church versus Saturday at 1 p.m. when everybody and their mother, cousin, whoever is there. So, we're kind of like throwing stuff out there, ideas, hypothetically speaking. All right, let's go on to the last one. Imminent. Something is about to happen. The dark clouds signaled that a storm was imminent, meaning, holy cow, we're about ready to get slammed with some rain, or maybe a tornado or a hurricane. Something is about to happen. You might hear in a drama series on Netflix, he was in imminent danger, meaning, wow, danger. Something's about ready to happen. If I go walking at midnight in a very bad part of town, I put myself in imminent danger because something will happen to me. So when something is about to happen, it is imminent. All right. So if I went again a little too fast, I'm trying to make these videos a little bit shorter because I know some of you want these videos to be to the point and shorter because I know we're all busy. But again, if I'm going too fast with my explanations, just send me a message. I can slow down. Or if you just want extra help behind the sidelines, which means we can talk, we can definitely talk one-on-one or message each other, just let me know. I'm always here to help. Until then, I will see you next time. Today is Monday. I don't know what day it is for you, depending on when you watch this video, but it's time to get back into the groove for the week. Have a great day.